Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. We're all aware that we're often pitched to, so we try to sift through the hype to find nuggets of validity. Not easy. One of the more trusted such nuggets is if a product or company has won a prestigious award. Well, I have a client who works for a company listed as one of Fortune's 100 best companies to work for. He told me that all employees there were, quote, strongly encouraged to give the company top ratings on Fortune's questionnaire. So could it be that the Best Companies Award is in part for the companies that most strong-armed its employees? Here are other examples of hype that we may be insufficiently girded against. Making it appear simpler than it is. It seems that every how-to article offers 5 or so steps, secrets, or keys to losing weight, finding love, better sex, landing a job, conquering procrastination, being charismatic, and so on. Such advice often relies less on solid data than on real or, quote, composite anecdotes, or if I did it, so can you. Of course, there's a grand canyon of difference between the author, who has the efficacy to produce a well-published article, and the typical reader. And when we think about all the how-to articles and books we've read, and the Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, and Oprah segments we've watched, have we usually implemented their magic formula? And even if we did it improve us as much or as easily as implied? Now let's turn to ads, but first let me get a drink here so I'm not sounding so throaty. Of course, advertisements are known hype machines. How often is a, quote, disruptive innovation really disruptive? How often is something described as awesome or amazing really awesome or amazing? Some types of ads particularly deserve a shout-out. Companies whose commercials imply or state that their most important product is their people. At the same time as such commercials are running, many of those firms are automating jobs or converting full-time benefited positions into part-time temp gigs. Would companies do that if people were their most important product? Most commercials prey on emotions, but the wedding ads effects seem particularly hurtful. For example, the onslaught of ads in brides magazines that urge you to spend big on your special day, spending that in total exceeds even a solid down payment on a home, the benefits of which would last far longer than 5 hours or even a weekend blowout. Watch a travel commercial and you might see an awestruck couple staring at some ruin. What percentage of the time were you awestruck staring at some ruin or other piece of history? Or you'll see a couple cavorting pre-orgasmically in turquoise waters. Think of all the beach trips you've been on. What percentage of your vacation was spent like that? Particularly hypocritical are commercials for movies or plays. The scripts tend to be anti-capitalist, but to get more of that reviled capitalist lucre, movie producers are fervent practitioners of advertising hype. It seems that every email I get urging me to come to a play calls it a blockbuster, hysterically funny, and so on. The other category of ads I find especially troubling are for pharmaceuticals. Big Pharma spends billions to have some telegenic successful patient abetted by a comforting narrator intoning the drug's benefits. The narrator's voice gets faster and more monotonic as a paragraph of dire but almost impossible to read warnings appear briefly, including results may vary, usually in the negative direction. Often a low-cost generic drug is as effective, and because it's been available far longer, its safety and side effect profile are far better understood. Now let's turn to government, college, and us. How often have we heard government officials claim to be fighting fraud and abuse? Yet government's budget continues to grow, some would say metastasize, in its inefficiency. For example, many consider Head Start to be education's most important innovation. Despite it having had a half-century now to refine, and despite the billions of dollars spent on it, when President Obama ordered a meta-evaluation of Head Start, the effects were found to be near nil. Far from a breakthrough. What did government do? Expand funding for the long-hyped, popular program. One more example of government hype. Every time candidates' statements in debates are fact-checked, many are deemed dubious, if not outright wrong. And if we counted the number of evasive answers, there wouldn't be much left in the tried and true and on-point column. Not tried and true, excuse me. There wouldn't be much left in the true and on-point column. Then there's college, the most expensive purchase most people ever make, with the possible exception of a home. And of course, college not only costs big in money, but time. Average time to a bachelor's, 5 years. And only 59% graduate even if given 6. A PhD? It typically takes 6 to 10 years, with commensurate level employability far from assured. You would think that colleges would answer to a higher authority. After all, they proclaim themselves to be epicenters of thought and ethics. Yet Madison Avenue would be proud of colleges' manipulations. Pictures of happy graduates with anecdotes of them beautifully employed are far more prominent than the graduation rate, let alone the price tag and the likely cash aid. That cost may be buried so deeply in the website's bowels that few prospectives ever descend there. Hype behind the ivy. Even we as individuals are guilty of hyping. Could anyone claim with a straight face that most resumes, LinkedIn profiles, and dating site self-descriptions and mugshots would pass a deception detector test? The takeaway. By definition, half of things are below average, and very few things are exceptionally good. There actually are achingly few breakthroughs. If we care about integrity, we should be more accurate in how we describe what we're pushing. And each time we're pitched a superlative, before believing it, think back to all the hype that previously sucked you in. By the way, I've tried to walk my talk, to not be guilty of hype, of exaggerating my assertions. If you think I've been unfair, I welcome your comment. I do thank you for watching. I would welcome your thumbs up and tolerate your thumbs down. There's also a share button in case you care to share it on social media or write a comment. In any case, thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.